This video is for all my book lovers out there, so if that sounds like you, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to join the fam. Okay, we are gonna be talking about all the books that I read in May. And we're also gonna talk about what is coming up in June. Let's talk about May. Where do I begin? So, the first book that I read this season, because it feels like a lifetime, was this one. I finally finished the second book of the Caraval trilogy. It delivered. In my opinion, the second book is way better than the first book. That's just me. This book, in my opinion, is like 4.5 stars. Basically, Caraval is like a game that takes place in different locations around different cities every year. It's only held once a year. You go to Caraval, you have to get invited to go because you have to have like an invitation, all this kind of stuff. So it's not just for anybody, okay? But you have to get invited to go to Caraval. Basically, you are participating in this game. So it's like a scavenger hunt. Like they give you the first clue and then you have to find the next clue by using the first clue. You know what I mean? Like, so like literally like a scavenger hunt type of thing. And it is so whimsical and magical, and like the person who is like running Caraval, his name is Legend. So he has magic powers. He kind of like is controlling the game. People have no idea who this guy is. Sometimes he plays in the game, but whenever he's playing in the game, he uses like a different actor to play him. So like literally no one knows who he is. They can't tell you who he is either. Like they just literally cannot tell you. And it's like, I want to know why. Why can't they say who he is? In book one of the sisters got kidnapped, and so the object of the game was to find one of the sisters. The first book is from the perspective of Scarlet, who's trying to find her sister Tella. We need to find the sister. So everybody in Caraval, everyone who's participating in the game is trying to find clues to find Tella. But Scarlet is like, I'm trying to find Tella too. She's my sister. Like, this is not a game to me. Every time she received the clue, it was like a preface of like, by the way, this is not real. This is all a game. Don't fall for it. Like, this is not real. Da, 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 da. It's only a game. Stuff started getting personal. Like, how can this be a game if this, how does this person even know? Girl, it was just, girl, it was, yeah. It's so hard to be like, this is only a game. Let me let this loud car go. It's hard to be like, this is only a game when so many like personal crazy stuff is happening to them. How can you still think that it's a game at that point? Like, how? Let me give you an example. Let's say I was dating this guy who lives out in Houston, right? But I'm in Dallas. But out of nowhere, the guy from Houston shows up at the game. And I'm like shocked, like, how the heck did he even know? Like, what? Like, how do they know him? You start wondering something. Like, that is literally the vibe of Caraval. How do you even know these people? How do y'all even know? Like, how? Oh, but it's just a game? Like, well, are you part of the game? Then it starts getting real trippy, right? That's exactly why I love this book. Because even as a reader, I'm like, there is no way this is not this is real life. Because how would that person know, like... So, this series is like literally the ultimate package. It has mystery, giving like trying to solve a riddle type of thing, trying to solve the game. But also romance is at play here. But also whimsical fantasy aspects are at play. If you like that kind of stuff, then you're gonna like this book. There is no like world building stuff in this book, not at all. They give you a map in the beginning of the book. I've never looked at the map once, okay? But I'm not gonna lie, when I read Fourth Wing, have you ever read that book? Leave a comment below. When I read Fourth Wing, I was definitely referring to the map. Like, in fact, I haven't even finished Iron Flame yet. Now that I think about it. But anyway, yeah, it has a map at the front. Never looked at it. I don't even know what, yeah, it doesn't really matter because there is no like world building. There's a third book. I don't have it. So you know I need to go back to the bookstore. Okay, anyway, that was the first book that I read. And like, I truly enjoyed it, loved it, ate it up like 100%, okay? The next book that I finally finished was this one. Oh my God, let's talk about it. Magnolia Parks. Now, so many people are a huge fan of this series. This series, to me, what do I say? Let me tell you what it's about. Basically, Magnolia Parks is like a London socialite. And Magnolia Parks is really like involved with these guys. One of the main guys being BJ Ballantyne, who is also a London socialite. A bunch of rich kids, they're not even kids, mind you, they're in their 20s. But the synopsis, it was giving teenager, you know? But like, as you read, they're actually like in their 20s. But okay, so that's interesting. BJ and Magnolia are like soulmates, but they are so toxic. everybody loves them, everyone wants to be in their circle, everyone wants to kind of know them, da 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 da. And if anything happens in their lives, they're like on the cover of a magazine of like, it's like Gossip Girl. If you've ever seen Gossip Girl, everybody knows about their lives because of the magazines and stuff like that. Rich parents and all this kind of stuff. BJ and Magnolia are like super toxic though, because they're like lovebirds, like soulmates, in love, whatever. But for some reason, Magnolia dates a lot of other guys to get back at BJ, and BJ sleeps with a bunch of other girls to get back at Magnolia. But at the end of the day, they go back to each other. Like, that's literally what the synopsis is saying. Like, I'm not trying to give you any spoilers. Like, they are literally hurting each other. It's like very toxic for years. No, they have been doing this for years, okay? They have been dating since they were teenagers, which is why it kind of gave me like teenager vibes, but they're in their 20s. And I think it's because this book was going back in time a lot, going back to when they were teenagers, how they happened basically. For real, I literally put it on Goodreads yesterday. I give this book 3 stars because this book was like, okay, it looks small, but like, man, the font is small. Over 400 pages. That's one thing. And 2, it took way too long for their dysfunction. Constant chapters of their dysfunction. And I'm just like, what? I was annoyed. I kept reading the book and then stopping and reading. Like, I DNF'd this book like once or twice. Like, I have been trying to read this book for a while, and I think the reason why I couldn't get into it is because, first of all, there's so many characters in this book. You have to be invested in the characters to invest into this book. But I feel like in the first like 100 pages of this book, it's constantly like a new character. Like, who's that? Who is this group? You have to go through that because it's like Gossip Girl. Like, you have to get to know the characters because you cannot have Serena without Blair and without Nathan and without Nate. Like, these are people from Gossip Girl. But anyway, you need to know who the group of people are because that is the story. That is the story. You know what I mean? I understand why it did a lot of like, it didn't do a lot of world building, but it did a lot of like character introductions. That just, I don't know. Like, I didn't like that part. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I really don't. But that part was really slow, which is why I kept starting the book and then stopping the book. And once I DNF'd it and tried to get back where I left off, I really kind of couldn't because I didn't even remember who those characters were, like, or their significance. You know, like, I just didn't invest in the characters, which is why I realized that maybe that's why I don't like the book as much because I'm not invested in BJ or Magnolia. I think they're both terrible. Like, what the heck? I'm like, if y'all like each other, just be with each other. Like, nobody literally was stopping them. It was just borderline like frustrating because I'm like, why are y'all so annoying? Like, y'all are so annoying. And knowing that they're not teenagers, y'all are so annoying. You like this guy this much, he has done what to you and you still like him? Girl, have some standards, girl, have some boundaries, okay? And then for the BJ's perspective, I'm not even gonna say anything because I don't want to expose. Yeah, but this girl has done some messed up stuff to you too. You still like her after all the stuff that she has done to you. Y'all like each other. Okay, let's just pretend. Okay, that's okay. I like each other. So then be together. Oh my God, but like there are some unforgivable things. Like people just do some things that is unforgivable. Like there's no way we're going back. But like it takes the entire book. It took the entire book to figure out like what caused all of this dysfunction. And the main question kept being, how many loves do you really get in a lifetime? How are y'all soulmates written in the stars, but then y'all are sleeping with other people and doing all these other crazy toxic things? What happened? Essentially, how did we get here? You do find out, but now, I don't know, like it took me a long time to like get invested in the characters, and now that I am invested in the characters, I kind of want to know what happens next too. Not because this book is so freaking like good and like, it's kind of like, what the heck happens? Seriously, genuinely, like what happened with him then? If this is the case, then I just want to know what happens, you know? That's why I might pick up the second book. I just kind of want to see like what continues to unfold, especially because they're close to my age, and I'm like, ain't no way I would be going through what they're going through right now. But like, that's just me. I had to personally invest into these characters to actually like it, and I don't like that part because it's like, I don't want to invest my soul into these people. They're toxic. Okay. Anyway, the next book that I read this book so fast. It is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I DNF'd this book a while ago, but then I picked it back up because this was my month of like, let's finish these DNF books so I can start off the summer fresh. This book, complete plot twist. I literally DNF'd this book 1 chapter before I found out the plot twist. Like, if you know, you know. My camera died. I guess I was talking too much. God, I don't even know where I left off. I think I was talking about this one, November 9. I literally had DNF'd this book one chapter before the huge plot twist that I did not see coming. If only I would have read one more chapter. And such is life, right? Where I had stopped reading, I guess I was fed up with the storyline. Let me just read to you what it says, because I don't think I've ever really talked about this book. Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, the day before her scheduled cross-country move. Their untimely attraction leads them to spend Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes the creative inspiration Ben has always sought for his novel. Over time, and amidst the various relationships and tribulations of their own separate lives, they continue to meet on the same date every year, until one day Fallon becomes unsure if Ben has been telling her the truth or fabricating a perfect reality for the sake of the ultimate plot twist. Can Ben's relationship with Fallon and simultaneously his novel be considered a love story if it ends in heartbreak? Girl, okay, so basically Fallon met Ben the day before, or was it the day of? Right, the day before her schedule crossed over to like cross move, like whatever. So like she met Ben, and then the next day she moved to a whole different area, like cross country, right? They met on November 9th, and so once they met, they have vowed to meet again every November 9th after that, like same place, same time next year, November 9th, right? Basically, the book is taking you on every time that they met up, every November 9th. And in between, they were throwing a little bit of something different, but for the most part, it was following their lives for every November 9th. It will be in the perspective of both of them. One chapter will be about Fallon's perspective, and the next chapter is Ben's perspective and stuff like that. I love perspective jumping books, and it does jump back and forth. Each chapter is a different person's perspective. Whenever they meet up on November 9th, so much has happened. Obviously, like a year has gone by, and at first I didn't like it because I was like, oh my god, it's not turning out the way that I thought it was gonna turn out, like the way you would think it would. It just was not turning out that way. But then there's this like huge plot twist that happened at the end. My heart literally dropped. I was like, I could not have seen that coming. Like there is no way. I give this book 4 stars, so don't DNF this. So you just have to read the whole book straight through for real, like, because you're gonna wish you would have kept reading if you DNF'd like I did. The storytelling was very captivating. Like I did feel like I was there. I felt like I was watching a movie. It was so easy to follow along, and like I keep talking about that plot twist. Girl, did not see it coming. Have you read November 9th? November 9th. I love the idea of meeting up with the same person, same time, same place a year later. How do you commit to that? Especially commit that with a stranger, because they had just met on that day, and the next day she moved across the country. They were just like off living their own lives, and then they would meet up again on whatever day. They had this like strong chemistry together, and it was just like unparalleled, you know? So that could explain why they were committed to meeting up every year on November 9th. Beyond that part, it was just very much like, what? I like the storytelling. Colleen Hoover, we all know that she's really good at telling stories. Her romance stuff is usually very toxic. That's the common trait that I'm noticing with her stories. Like, it's just like toxic. I'm like, well, that was a toxic roller coaster. Kind of like Magnolia Parks. All of this toxicity. And for what? Why am I putting myself through this? But anyway, this month definitely helped me get out of that reading slump. Like I feel like I was in a reading slump for a very long time, and I thought that I was out of it, but then I wasn't. But now that it's like summertime and I'm very much on summer vacation mode, we're gonna start reading some summer books. So speaking of summer books, let's talk about what I will be reading in the month of June. Y'all, we need to talk about June. It is officially summer season in my head. As soon as June started, it was summer. So I'm starting a new summer reading series, and in this summer reading series, I'm going to be reading a designated summer book that you guys have picked out for me. It already started. If you haven't submitted your vote, go and submit your vote. Every Sunday for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be uploading a reading vlog featuring the book that you guys picked in the polls of the community tab on YouTube. Go to my channel, click the community tab, and submit your vote for which book you think I should read to start off this summer reading challenge. And then be sure to subscribe so that you can keep up with the community tab, because I'm going to be asking more questions as the summer reading series progress and go on. So if you would like to help me pick out the summer reads that I'm going to be reading for the month of June, then check out the community tab, subscribe, and tune in next Sunday for the first reading vlog of this summer reading series. I'll see you there. Bye y'all.